So we're back for another episode of The Script is Better.
Yay!
Yay! All the funs. Today we're doing the Willow script.
Yes.
Yes, which is a classic fantasy film by the one and only George Lucas.
Interesting. Yeah. So by Bob Dolman, though, no? And then it was rewritten by George Lucas?
I'm going to say yes. That sounds about right.
Yeah, so I think it was written by Bob Dolman originally, and then George Lucas kind of did a rewrite on it, and that's what we get.
Not to be mistaken with Bob Dole.
That's a name I know, but I don't know who that is.
I think it's an American president reference, maybe,
Okay.
or something related to that. I mean, we're showing our Canadian.
But also, to show more Canadian, Bob Dolman is Canadian as well.
There you go. We're just showing our ignorance.
Yeah, he was the writer and producer for Willow.
Fantastic. But I think it feels kind of like a George Lucas film.
Yeah, so story by George Lucas. So I had it reversed. So let's backtrack there a little bit. I had it reversed. So story by George Lucas. Bob Dolman wrote the screenplay, and it was directed by Ron Howard.
Directed by Ron Howard. Oh my God, everyone's all over this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ron Howard, I don't want to throw shade. He hasn't been my favorite director, but I'm looking forward to this. So far, I've enjoyed what I've seen of Willow.
Interesting. I mean, not to go on a tangent, but like, where did Ron Howard lead you astray? Is there like a movie where you're like, nah? Is it Jurassic Park?
When did he do a Jurassic Park? Did he do the Jurassic World?
Did he do the latest ones? Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that was a big mistake. And then like the Da Vinci Code and its sequel, those why are you doing this? I'm not sure what else he's done. Like obviously he's done a lot, since like back in the day. Was it Happy Days?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So since he was an actor, and then all the movies, he's done plenty of things, and he's great. I mean, if for nothing else, then Arrested Development. He's the narrator, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but there are just some films, at least in recent years, that I haven't been a giant fan of.
Oh my gosh, there is so much. I have no idea what I'm talking about. So he didn't do any Jurassic movies. I was just thinking that because of his daughters, and that's why I made that connection.
Yeah.
I know nothing about movies. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, so we're changing the title.
Great title though too.
It is a great title. It would fit. No, he did the latest Star Wars, not the Star Wars movie, sorry, the spin-off Han Solo,
yeah,
which did not have his daughter.
No, I mean I really liked Frost Nixon. There's one. Our Beautiful Mind is pretty good too. Anyways, whatever.
I haven't seen Beautiful Mind.
Moving on.
This script isn't about Ron Howard, or this conversation isn't just about Ron Howard.
To be fair, we do have to come back to Ron Howard at the end, and I hope that I remember to do that.
I mean, any good story will always circle back to the beginning. So
Perfect.
So back to Willow.
Willow.
Yeah, how did you like Willow?
Right into it. I really enjoyed this script. I enjoyed it a lot, way more than I thought I was going to. I mean, I've seen the DVD cover because I used to work at HMV, so I remember seeing it like many times, and I was like, no, not for me. Now I'm like, what have I been missing out all these years? I'm pretty excited to see the movie. It was just a really great read, and the script read so easily, and I didn't find that there was any wasted words. Like, it was very descriptive, but yeah, not overly, I don't know if verbose is the word I'm looking for, but like not overwritten. Yeah,
not too wordy for sure. Verbose is a great word. It just has a classic George Lucas quality. I think George Lucas is partly blamed or lauded, depending on who you're talking to, for the modern state of movies. The way you go from like one giant set piece to another with like one action scene to like the next like action scene. He did that a lot with Indiana Jones, and you could just feel that in this film where they're going from one like area, that one scene, one place to another, and something exciting is going to happen, and the movie just goes quickly and flows well.
Right. And people are angry about that?
I think the impression that I've gotten in the past, and I haven't talked a lot about this, but it's that some people think that he's cheapened films in certain way. That may not be the right word. He's just like made films like a certain thing, that a template that people are all following, instead of people like, I don't know, Beck. I honestly, I don't know. But I think people don't like it.
I know that for like Star Wars, it's like often talked about how it's exactly excuse me, the hero's journey, the Joseph Campbell hero's journey. So I know like a lot of his stuff that he's written is like based off of that exact journey, and it doesn't move away from that. But then also, and I know people have talked about that a lot, about how it's just that verbatim, but I mean, every movie can be tied to like any story structure. I feel like there's a way to find it in any script that you read. So I don't know why people would be hating on it. If it works, it works. It's good.
People be hating, Mac. So one of the things that I really liked about the story in general was just how clear the characters were. That they were like, we have Willow, we have Mad Mardigan, right?
Yes.
That's how you pronounce his name? Yeah. And so you have Willow, who's a very like nervous character, but you can tell he's a very good person right from the beginning. He just wants to be helpful, he wants to take care of his family, he wants a simple life, but he's always willing to do the right thing. But then Mad Mardigan, he's like a schemer, clever guy, but you can also see the heart behind him as well. I just think that every character was very clear in this film.
Yeah, I fully agree. And none of the characters in the script had character descriptions like upon introduction, so it was just based off of fully their actions and what they said, and there wasn't, to be fair, like a lot of dialogue either, so it was very cool. I feel like the script is like a master class in writing to me. I was like, this is amazing. It won't be the last time that I read this script.
Well, that's good to hear. That's really cool.
Yeah, so what are you, John, most excited to see come to life?
I'm just a fan of fantasy, Beck. Or at least I was when I was young. I used to read a lot of fantasy novels, so it's exciting for me to get to see this film come to life in general. I'm excited for all the tropes, like the sorcerers, the magic, the little what are they called in this? They're not. I don't think they're called fairies. There are fairies, but they're also like brownies or something.
Yeah, the brownies.
Yeah, there's brownies, and so I'm excited for all the creatures in it and just the fantasy setting.
Yeah, there aren't, like, fantasy is not a genre that gets done very much anymore, right? Like, I'm trying to think of modern fantasies. The last one we had, which wasn't even modern, was like Lord of the Rings, isn't it? Like the last big kind of one.
It depends on what you consider. Yeah, I guess Harry Potter's magic and fantasy, but yeah. I guess it's more. Is it magic realism? I think there's a genre. It might be magic realism where it's like set in our universe, but right. There's magic. Yeah.
Right.
And so that's almost fantasy. But yeah. No, you're right. I think there's less fantasy these days. We might not be paying attention to what's coming out in fantasy, but maybe since superheroes have come out, that's kind of replaced the fantasy genre a bit.
Oh, fair. I mean, yeah. I was going to say, I want to see a film that's set in like these times or this universe that has a superhero. And then I'm like, oh, it's that. That is this film. That's this film.
Yeah.
Cool. That's Willow. Cool. Got it. Are all movies just superhero movies?
No.
Okay.
Question answered.
Sweet.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to then?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see just honestly Mad Mardigan, like see his skills kind of develop and get displayed over the course, like see his arc just kind of go and him to become badass from like that kind of thief and bad guy at the beginning to like a hero who's supportive and like kind of saves the day over and over.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he makes that transition steadily as the film goes on, eh?
Yeah. And I'm excited to see like what all of these creatures look like, because again, there's not in the script, there's like no character descriptions, even like a death dog. Okay, so I'm thinking that's a dog.
Yep.
But it also speaks, or at least has like a little bit of a capacity to speak, because it says Bordak like a few times, so it can say at least one word.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is it like an anthropomorphic kind of dog thing? Are they huge? Are they like puppy sized? Like what does this look like?
I pictured Dobermans.
Okay.
Maybe Spikes. somewhere.
Like a spike collar, or like a spike, like the dog is spiked?
I think the dog will be spiked.
Okay, right. Interesting.
I'm just making assumptions. Maybe red eyes. What are you
Ooh.
picturing? A Shih Tzu?
Yeah, I mean, this is bad if I say like a kind of like big pit bully thing that like has muscles.
Maybe.
Like,
No, I
like
don't think it's
that's like
bad.
really like muscular, and like maybe its face has like a little bit more of capacity for like human kind of emotion.
Yeah. Could look cool.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
like the Eborsisk, or Ebersisk, or however you say that, we'll find out. Like, I just assumed that that was gonna be, what is that dog called? Is it called the Hydra? The dog that Hades has. That's
Oh, Cerberus. Yeah.
yes. Chris. I thought it was gonna be like that, but I'm like, no, it can't be like two dog things. So I'm very curious to see what that looks like as well.
Yeah. Exciting. It's exciting. We get to see a lot of different things.
I mean, George Lucas, with his, obviously he's got a team of people that help him out to make all of these decisions, but he's proven himself to be very have a very big imagination. So yeah, just seeing what that looks like in a different universe that's maybe on more of an Earth-like planet versus in the stars is going to be really cool.
Yeah, I agree. It's great to see Lucas do something different for sure. I wish, like, I haven't gone into his backlog, his filmography, but I feel like there's probably Star Wars, all Star Wars, and in the middle you'll see Willow.
I don't know either, but I feel like if we look it up, there's going to be like a really major thing that we totally spaced that was him. And it's going to be very stupid and even more ignorant than we already feel so far in this discussion. I mean, you're not wrong. Just on George Lucas, it's like American Graffiti, Star Wars, Willow, Indiana Jones, Star Wars. It's just like so much different Star Wars stuff, like all around it.
Do they mention the holiday special?
It's all here.
Okay.
They mention every Lego Star Wars thing, like every side spin-off story.
Probably for most of them.
Star Wars, like everything Star Wars ever.
Yeah, like he got rich just off the Star Wars, which is great. No shade. It would be cool to see his talents in other spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I guess, I've
been lent to many, many things.
Yeah. I actually think I heard this is like a third person or like
non-fact.
Yeah, exactly. I heard it from another podcast.
Okay.
That he now has the freedom, and I think he does just like make things. He's kind of like Prince, where he just makes things and then doesn't show anyone.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So he can just do whatever he wants with his ideas, and he doesn't need to make any money. So he's just like, well, that's done.
I mean, that's great though, that to get like the story out of your body but not feel the need to like have to impress people with it or like to share it with everyone. I mean, some things are just for you, and that's great that he has the ability to be able to do that. But also he's being kind of selfish.
Oh. What? Let him do what he wants.
I love that the magic trick came back around, that he failed in like the talent hall or whatever talent show type thing at the beginning, and then at the end he like used it to save the day.
For sure. That's classic writing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Set up, payoff.
Exactly. No, it was really well done. And that's that's the only thing he could do to save the day, right? He's only a little guy.
Yeah.
This and like obviously this was inspired not only by the hero's journey but by Lord of the Rings so much. Sure. Yeah, and it goes in such a different direction, even though like it's a small person going off on a journey. I like that in Lord of the Rings, Frodo and Sam, while they face a bunch of different trials, they're kind of like off on their own, and their big confrontation is with themselves in a way, because they have to like give up the ring.
Right.
Whereas Willow, I kind of like that Willow actually had to like face the sorcerer and improve himself that way.
And then give up the baby.
Yeah. Like you mean like he like gave up the baby like to trick her?
No, he like gave up the baby to Mad Mortigan.
Oh yeah, no, well he had to do that.
Did he? He couldn't have kept Laura Dannon.
I mean, she's gonna grow up. She's gonna be like this really tall person in the village, I guess.
Do
Yeah. Can I talk about how I have a bit of a problem with the ending?
it.
Yeah, I don't know if this bothered you at all, but Willow goes through this big journey and everything. Then he gets back to the village, and everyone's like, "Yay, Willow's back! Big celebration! We're all proud of you and everything." But as far as anyone knows in the village, Willow just took a really long time to drop off the baby. Like a task that should have taken maybe a week or a month at most took forever. And then he gets back and everyone's like, "You're a big hero now." But no one respected him when he left. They don't know what he did.
True.
Yeah. And so, like, also his enemy, Burglecut?
Yep.
Burglecut? Yeah. He wouldn't be cowed in any way. He'd still not respect Willow. I think there's a little bit of a hole, unless we're supposed to assume that carrier pigeons or something. Or
I love that you said that. I was just going to say, maybe he sent a carrier pigeon. You don't know.
I don't know. It's true. So,
and there was just like not enough money in the budget to like CGI and carrier pigeons.
Not enough money in the budget to write it into the script.
Fair. And then Willow sent a carrier pigeon regaling his family of everything he had just been through.
Yeah.
I agree. Or maybe so it's musicians strike up a welcoming march. Willow rides through the village on his little pony, proudly carrying the sacred book. It's not necessarily that Willow came back in that moment and that's when all of this happens. It could be that he's been in town and then they're like, "We're going to give you a parade."
Maybe. I mean, they would have to take his word on it too. Unless we're supposed to assume that somebody came back with him.
He's got the sacred book, right? And that belonged to Bavmorda, so if he's got the book.
No one knows that except for the magician. Like there's a magician person in the village.
Right.
I think they're like there's just if we're not going to call it a hole, George Lucas or whoever or Bob Dolman is asking us to fill in gaps that he could have easily filled in.
Mm-hmm.
Like just one little hint, like anything you've said, carrier pigeon, a few months, whatever. Like I think we need just like that indication that time has passed, or that there was a message sent in some way to warrant this celebration.
Yeah.
So did you watch the trailer, or do you know much about the cast beyond the Val Kilmer of it all?
I didn't know Val Kilmer, and I just found out that right now. But I knew who played Willow.
Okay, yeah, of course.
I knew that, but now, cool, Val Kilmer's in it. Great. He must be Mad Mortigan?
He is.
Okay.
I thought that's partly why you were excited to see him come to life on the screen.
I mean, it's a young Val Kilmer, right?
It is, like, yeah. Oh, for sure.
How old?
It would have been the 80s.
So is he, like, in his 20s then? Like, are we saying... Because he was probably in his, like, late 30s when he did Batman in the 90s. No? 30s?
Maybe.
So he's, like, 30s in this movie? Interesting. Because I would have put him... Like, I was reading him as, like, a 40 to 50-year-old.
Right.
Like a crotchety kind of older, gruff guy.
Mm-hmm. On that note, I did like that this fantasy, and I guess Lord of the Rings does it as well, but I like that this fantasy follows an adult. It follows Willow, Mad Mardigan, they're all adults. So many fantasies of today, especially mostly young adult fantasies, are all about children or teenagers, which is, I understand that's the audience that you're going for, especially with young adult novels. But it gets a little tiresome, at least for me, when all the fantasies are about children and all the great things that they can accomplish despite all the adults. It's like, I think in the end, Dumbledore probably would have taken care of Voldemort on his own. But no, he needed the kid. He needed Harry Potter to deal with everything.
Wasn't it part of like the prophecy or something as well?
Yeah, that was part of it, for sure.
So Dumbledore was just like, oh, I guess I'll listen to this.
Yeah.
I could have just like zapped, but fine. Bravas.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they want to make 8 movies out of this, so I should probably just find this Harry Potter kid.
You sorry. Oh, okay, yeah. I thought you were talking about Willow. 8 movies out of Willow?
No.
I mean, we could get another one, I guess.
Okay. On that. Now, back to Ron Howard. pulling up Ron Howard's IMDb page, and
Is it
what is
saying
it
Willow
now?
too?
No, even better. Willow the TV series.
Like coming up?
Yeah, it's been announced.
I'm not into that. I don't like TV series based on movies because they just don't have the production value. You were never a big fan of the Evil Dead series, right?
I love the movies. I never watched the TV show though.
Okay, the TV show was, it was good for what it was. I didn't like what Ash became in the TV show, but what I especially didn't like was that mostly you got to see deadites every week. You didn't get to see unique monsters. It was always the exact same kind of monsters pretty much every week. Sometimes they would have something unique, but they just touched on the same monster every time. I just felt like I understand that you only have the money, the budget for certain things, but I would have liked more creativity out of it.
That adaptation though, because the original was so low budget, you don't need a lot of money to like do it justice, right?
Yeah.
Was it still the same actor whose name I forget right now?
Bruce Campbell was Ash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the TV series as well.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know that you're saying maybe you could get like one more story out of it, but apparently they're going to get a lot of stories out of it with this TV show.
Sure. I wonder if it's going to have like a fixed story where they're like trying to reach a goal, and that's going to be the entire story, kind of like Willow's journey in the film, or
Right.
if it's going to be like this happens this week. This is the adventure of the week, and then this is the adventure of this week, and then there's like no overarching goal except for maybe season to season, kind of like a Supergirl or a Flash TV series.
I feel like it has to be a limited series that at max could span like 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm. I'd be more on board for that because then they could really focus on the story that way and have a goal instead of having filler episodes that are just pointless.
Yeah, because like otherwise, like what could it be? It's like if it happens after this, then what is it? It's Willow now having a Philosopher's Stone and like doing magic in his town.
Yeah, maybe. So you think it's gonna be set before this story?
I would think it's gonna go both. It's gonna be like you'll have more backstory of who everybody is, and then it's slowly gonna go through the events of the movie.
I'm not too interested in the backstory.
No?
No, me personally. I don't always enjoy when they go into backstory about things because these are questions that are never as interesting as the mystery is. Yeah.
Well, like, there's things like I'm interested to know if Queen Bavmorda was bad all the time in kind of like a Maleficent sort of way, like, or like a Snow White. It's been like, tell me about the bad guy.
See, I'm not as interested in that myself because I think that if they did show that story, it's going to be cliche. It's going to be like, oh, she was treated badly by her parents, or she was in love with somebody and they broke her heart, or something like that, and then she's going to be a bad guy.
Right.
Hopefully they would have something better than that, but I feel like it's just going to be scorned in some way, either by family or by a lover, or bullied as a kid by other people. Something where she had one bad experience and that's colored her life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think that I wouldn't be as interested in that, but I can definitely respect like your interest in it for sure.
Okay. Oh, I had a question about this script though. Why does everyone say that? I'm not going to say this right. That Tyr Asleen doesn't exist. Like over and over, people are like, "Yeah, that place doesn't exist." And it's not always like people that are against Willow and Mad Mortigan. It's just everyone that they come across, except for Raziel, is like, "No, that place does not exist."
I think it's they don't want to hold on to hope for this like magical fantasy place to come save them.
Right. Okay.
They've been under the rule of Bavmorda for so long, and they're just like, there is no hope. The best we can do is fight for ourselves, or run and die, or just give up to her. You saying that this place is real, us going after that, like that's a fantasy. Stop doing this. Stop wasting our time. We're not going to risk our lives for this.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But
and then
Willow, tenacious.
The other thing that I will say that I didn't love was that of how Bavmorda is like struck down and like killed. She defeats herself. Her magic, her sorcery, creates thunder and lightning. And then in the script it says a bright fork of lightning conjured by her own evil shoots in through the ceiling and strikes her. she
Classic.
howls in pain. I'm just like, okay. So who defeated her? She defeated herself.
That's fair. I don't want to go on I'm going to justify it again. I'm sorry.
Please do. Yes, this
Okay.
is what this is for.
Okay, cool. It didn't bother me as much because I read a lot of fantasy, and a recurring theme in fantasy is at least, especially in a specific series, Dragonlance, that I read. There was like one of the first series that I read. A friend got me into it, and I just ate it up for many years. Is that evil turns in upon itself. So no matter how dark it gets, no matter how powerful evil seems to be, and no matter how desperate and lost you seem in a situation, good will always win, not because good is more powerful, but because evil will always strike itself down. It'll always turn on itself. It'll always like betray, like the evil people will betray each other, or they'll do something to ruin their own plans because it's just in their nature. And so when this happened in the script, I was just like, yeah, I mean, it's a classic story in fantasy, at least.
Well, I'm excited to see how that translates into the film and if it's still like bumps for me or not.
Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to say about this script?
No, yeah, just like I said earlier, I felt like I could learn a lot from the script, and it won't be the last time I read it. So yeah.
No, that's good to hear. Yeah, it's always great when you find a script like this because it's fun, it's well written, and really makes you excited to see the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
All right.
Okay, well let's get to watching this flick then.
Sounds good.
All right. Question number 7. So, Beck, there have been a lot of superhero movies in the past decade, and whenever you get a lot of something, i.e. like zombie movies or vampire movies, you get people who have some pushback against those movies. And recently we had directors like Martin Scorsese say that he doesn't respect these types of films. And there are other directors like James Cameron who wouldn't direct these kinds of films. How do you feel about superhero movies in general, and maybe in some of the exhaustion that we're getting from the amount of superhero movies that have been coming out?
I really enjoy superhero movies. I mean, they are storytelling to its core. The hero's journey is what every story is based off of, and a superhero movie is a hero's journey. It's in the name. So I really like them. They're very satisfying. They play on the imagination that I had as a kid that I wish I still had. You know, when you were young, you just always wanted to be a hero of some kind, whether it was a superhero or a doctor hero or an astronaut kind of hero, you know, all of those things. So now that I'm an adult and I'm a writer and not a superhero, I get to kind of live vicariously through the heroes that I see on screen and inspired by them as well. So I really enjoy them. I think that there's a place for them, and I hope they keep making them. I'm not exhausted by it yet. I'm excited.
What movies are you excited for this year then? What superhero movies, if any?
I just saw Birds of Prey and it was amazing. And
Nice.
Now I'm most excited for Wonder Woman.
Ooh, when does Wonder Woman come out?
It comes out in the summer. I believe it's in June.
Very cool. Yeah, the trailer looks pretty cool.
So good. And it's set in the 80s. And somehow John comes back and I don't understand. So I really want to know what's up with that.
Evil magic somehow, probably.
Oh, no, it's not John. What's his name? Steve.
Yeah, you're right, Steve.
And somehow Steve comes back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, superhero movies, they have a place. And I'm here for it.
Nice. We should make a movie or a series that just have heroes that are called Dr. Hero. Other
Astronaut hero.
And they all have special powers.
Well, I mean, Doctor Strange, he's Dr. Hero.
He is Dr. Hero, it's true. Doctor Strange 2 is coming out sometime, right? Maybe 2021?
Probably.
Okay, cool. Well, sounds good. Let's all go see Birds of Prey and wait for Wonder Woman this summer.
Yay.
Awesome. Back to the episode. Okay, Beck, and we're back onwards and upwards We just finished reading the Willow script and evaluating the Willow script, and now we are going to take a look at the Willow film.
Yay!
Your excitement is palpable, Beck.
Actually, it should be very exciting. So I lived with my best friend who I've known since we were 14. I lived with her for about 6 months, and she watched this movie so many times. It is her ultimate, like, all-time favorite movie, and somehow in those 6 months, I never watched it. And so this is my first time, and I feel like by proxy and just by like love for my best friend, I should have sat down with her, but I haven't. So I am excited that I finally watched it and can share in the joy, or be mad that this is the type of stuff she loves. No spoilers, so I'm not going to tell you which one it is.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, but regardless, at least you have an opportunity to have a conversation with her now.
Yes.
That's great. What were your initial feelings about Willow the film?
Okay, so I guess the spoiler is happening right now. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the film. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It was a lot of fun. It was cute. I feel I probably should have seen it when I was like 12 or something like that, and I probably would have grown loving it as well, as much as my friend did. But yeah, it was nice. It made me feel a little bit nostalgic for movies similar to it, like The Labyrinth and anything really that Jim Henson did at that time.
No, that's true. It definitely has one of those Labyrinth feels. There's another movie I've never seen. I think it's called Legend with Tom Cruise in it that falls into this fantasy oeuvre.
Okay, we got to add that to the list.
Okay, yeah, we can add that to the list for sure. I mean, it's got T. Cruise, so
does it?
It does. It might be good. It might be good. And it's just from that 80s time, that 80s era where they used a lot of practical effects, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed the movie too. I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the acting and the directing.
Yes. Were there any standout actors for you?
I honestly, I think I've told you this before. I think I've said this on here before, that I have a hard time distinguishing good acting.
Oh, yeah.
But I just enjoyed Val Kilmer's performance in it. I enjoyed him being like goofy and just that kind of like, this character will do whatever he wants and say whatever he wants to get the next thing that he needs.
Yeah, just out for himself, like selfish, kind of manipulative even a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, and it was fun to see his character arc change. You know, like for him to go on that journey, that was nice as well. I loved his love interest, Saoirse. I thought she was fantastic. There were a couple moments that she had that I was like, ooh, and I like paused it and went back and watched it again just to. Yeah, I really liked her choices. And also the brownies. They were amazing. One I recognized is Kevin Pollak, who is in one of my other favorite movies, The Whole Nine Yards.
Yeah.
So that was so exciting to see like a younger him in like such a equally goofy role.
Were the brownies French?
I don't think so. Did they sound French to you?
No, they sounded English with a trying to put on a French accent.
But they're American. They're both American, the actors.
Yeah.
Put on a French accent.
Like when they said, I think they said, "What do you mean?" At one point, I think they went, "What do you mean?" This is what I heard the entire time.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, maybe they were just like caricatures, and like because their voices were like altered and like sped up a little bit.
Yeah. Best line of the film for me was the initial appearance of the brownies. He's flying on like an eagle and he says, "I stole a baby. I stole a baby."
It was so good. So good. And it's coming from far away, so when that first happened, like I had forgotten the script at this point, but when that first happened, I was like, is that eagle talking? I don't remember this.
Yeah, hilarious. It was fun. Yeah, those characters were great. But yeah, you really liked Saoirse. You said that there were some standout moments for you. What is there one that you can remember? Just if I put you on the spot.
So there's a part where it's right after Saoirse has gotten the baby for the first time, and she's gonna go bring it back to her mother, and she says, "That should make my mother happy." And I was like, ooh, it just sounded like so loaded to me. And like she was saying, like, finally, maybe my mother will respect me. That's kind of like how it was read to me. There's so many ways that she could have said that line. And I think that the way she did it just gave so much like subtext which I thought was super lovely and gave their relationship a lot of depth.
Yes, yeah, I agree. I think that's true. On the flip side, this might be going on a tangent. I thought that the Mad Mardigan Sorsha relationship was given less depth, ruined a little bit by being influenced by a love potion.
100%, because that did not happen in the script, right?
No, it didn't happen in the script, and it felt just like it made it cheaper. And even at the end, when they finally do fall in love, it's kind of just like, I don't know. I just didn't believe it, I guess.
Yeah, I would fully agree. It's like if Mad Mardigan heard the words coming out of his mouth and then was like, yeah, okay. Like afterwards. And she was like being told essentially lies at that point. And she was like, yeah, okay, as well. Like just both of them kind of went along with it. It didn't seem true.
Yeah, exactly.
I really loved how long Mad Mardigan stayed in that dress after. So he was dressed up as a woman to fool the guy that he was cuckolding. So I loved how long he was just in women's clothes.
Yeah, he wore drag for a while, eh? Like
yeah.
They escape from the tavern. They go on that chase. Then he abandons them at the island.
Yeah.
And so at that point, like, he loses most of his clothing, right? And he only has like pants.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was quite a bit.
Should we jump into changes? Because there's one right there.
I mean, yeah, I think there were quite a few small changes. Some that were good and some that were bad. So like you're saying right there, are you talking about who went to the island?
Yes. And the danger surrounding the island as well.
Yeah, there was like no danger surrounding the island, even though there were skulls on the island.
Yeah. So what was the point of going to the island at all? Because in the script, there is danger. They meet somebody in the water, don't they, that tries to like tell them to not go or something like that? Oh, I don't fully remember.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, there's a boy. He's telling them that the island is cursed and that Bavmorda's powers govern the elements there. And he tries to tell them not to go. And then on their way back, they get into trouble as well. But this time, it's like there's no point of them going to an island. Like Finn Raziel might as well have just been like on the same piece of land.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's true.
And Mad Mardigan went with Willow.
He obviously wasn't needed for that island in the film because there was no danger.
Yeah.
And I don't mind him abandoning them at that point, just kind of giving him another opportunity to show his growth later on.
Yes.
So I'm not against that. I think there were, like we were saying, there were a lot of small changes, but I think some of them were for the better. One instance I'm thinking of is after they escape the camp. So they're captured and they escape the camp and they take Sorsha and they're kind of like they're trying to get to this castle, right?
Yes.
In the book, or in the script rather, there's a monster that blocks their way that they have to fight past. In the film, they just go through these like winding caverns. It's kind of like a maze. They don't even really have a hard time getting through. They get to the castle. The castle is overrun by trolls and a monster, and Willow ends up turning one of the trolls into a two-headed dragon. Yes. And so that fight was switched over, and I think it's stronger at that point. I think having more conflict there was better for the story.
So you liked it in the movie version more?
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree. This is a little bit side noted, though. In the troll section, when Willow accidentally turns the troll into the two-headed monster, which, by the way, is called an Ebersisk, and fun fact, that's George Lucas's nod to Siskel and Ebert.
Oh, okay. Funny.
Yeah. The like gore of that transformation was like really disgusting to me, and I didn't feel like it felt like the rest of the movie. Like just all of a sudden it was like really gross.
Right. Yeah. I more like out of a Trolls horror film than yeah. I get you for sure. Yeah. I mean, the special effects were just that good, eh?
Yeah, they were really good though. Also, it felt so Gremlins.
Yeah.
I was like, you're not supposed to put them in water because they like stuff happens.
And then they turn into big two-headed dragons.
Yeah. Or it's opposite. You feed them and they turn like evil. So you put him in water and he turned evil.
Yeah. Oh, here's another change. Willow did not leave the village on his own.
Yes, that's a big change. He went with a bunch of people. Migosh went with him, Vonkar, Burglecut, and there were two others who I don't know if had names. Might have just been other village folk.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed that. It seemed to make sense at the time, and it gave us another scene where they all decide to go back. And Willow's like, no, I'm standing by my convictions. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it too. I don't know if it's because a lot of fantasy stories, like, it's set in this kind of like time period, blend a little bit for me because they're not my genre. But I was like, oh, this is like more like Lord of the Rings. It's like a group of people going on a journey to return something to somewhere.
Totally. You're right.
And I also liked in the script version, so Vonkar is the hero, the warrior of the village. In the script version, somebody suggests that he goes, and he's like, oh no, but who will take care of the village? Who's going to protect you? I should probably stay. And so he like kind of chickens out from going. But in the movie, he like volunteers himself. He's like, I'm going to go. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I kind of liked, I liked in the script that like the warrior was a little like skittish as well.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, nice. So were there any other changes you noted?
Was Finn Raziel, okay, so was she a possum
in
the script? Because in the movie, she's a possum when we see her, and she's cute as fuck. I was like, oh my god, you're adorable.
I don't know about the possum. I know the other ones, the goat and the bird. It wasn't a parrot in the film, but she definitely turns into a bird and a goat. But I don't know about the possum.
So it says she looks like an otter with a bush tail.
Okay.
Which I guess is, no, that's not a possum, because possums have skinny tails. So I think he's just making up animals, and they were like, you know what, we're going to use a real animal, so you got to choose one.
That's probably the case, yeah. They chose a good one.
Yeah, I appreciated that they chose a real animal, though, too. I was definitely expecting, like, okay, this is going to be some sort of puppet or something.
How long has she been transformed? Because she was describing herself as a young, beautiful woman, and then she transforms into an old woman, and she's like, has it been that long?
Yeah, I would say it must have been like 50 years.
Why? Eh? That's crazy.
Yeah, but like, can possums tell time? I understand that, you know.
So you think the possum, like, it's been that long? The possum is like, it's been a few days.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no like clocks on that like island, so you know, watch batteries only go for so long.
She's retained the ability to speak, and but she can't tell time.
No, she doesn't understand like that when the sun goes down, that's like another day has passed.
Right.
Or can only count to like 8 or 5 or however many.
Because of her finger. Yeah. Okay. She's supposed to be like an not all powerful, but a really powerful magician, and we've just reduced her to senile.
The cute, cuddly, senile fur baby.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, do you want to move on to how it compares? Like, did you like it more than the script, or were you disappointed in the film compared to the script?
This is hard for me. I was definitely not disappointed in the film. And yes, Val Kilmer's performance and Warwick Davis' performance I thoroughly enjoyed, and so that was really fun to see them bring those characters to life. But I still think I prefer the script.
Okay. Here's a change from the script to the film that we didn't discuss, but this is what makes me prefer the script as well.
Okay.
It's that in the script there was the prophecy about the baby, but there was also this like legendary kingdom,
right? That
was,
everyone like, said doesn't exist.
Exactly, but where like there was a king and a queen, and they could help fight Bavmorda, right?
Yes.
So there was this, and they spent a lot of the time, and they eventually got there, and they discovered this place, and I think it was people who were actually frozen in stone. Like, I think Bavmorda might have done that to them, not trolls.
Yeah.
And it was this cool way that like the legend came to life, and they're experiencing it, and they're like, it was just more magical in that way.
Yeah.
I think I like that. I liked that writing. In the film, I think there was an element of this in the script as well, but in the film, it feels like a lot of things are just happenstance, and they come out of nowhere and they go nowhere. A bit like the child being the child of prophecy who will eventually take down Bavmorda. That comes out of nowhere, and also like the baby doesn't do anything to Bavmorda in the end. I think that's in the script as well. Like the baby,
it's just like the baby's existence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the baby came into existence, other people are going to stop Bavmorda.
Yeah.
And so it's so weird. And I don't even know who Bavmorda is. She's just this bad person who's bad for being bad, just for the hell of it. And we don't know where she came from. We don't know why she's bad. And we don't know how she's bad. She's just bad.
Okay, so this was something that I mentioned in the script version. And I think you were saying that you were like, would it have given you anything beyond like, oh, she was teased when she was a kid, and now she's or like, oh, her parents died and now she's this way, and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
It's
I
one of
remember
those
that.
things- yeah.
I do. I definitely said that.
So I want that story as well,
Yeah.
but I can see why it's not in there. Or actually, at that time, it probably should have been in there, or it would have been like more common for it to be in there because it wasn't like cliche at that point.
For me, in the script, it didn't feel like it was missing, but in the film, I felt like, why is she doing anything?
Yeah.
Like, and why does everyone hate her?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty old too. Like, she'll probably die soon. I don't know,
Yeah.
unless she has magic to live forever or something. But
Yeah, you just wait it out. Like you'll be fine.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not to worry.
And you know, Sorsha seems pretty cool. She'll probably take
Yeah.
over, be at least not as bad as her mother.
None of this needed to happen, okay?
No, but I guess they got everything done pretty quick, so. Okay, I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about for here? Like, were there any scenes missing that you wish were there? Is there anything that you would have wished was different?
No, I like just like a few comments left, I guess. Like, I thought the CGI was great, which surprised me. Like, I was like, oh shoot, this is really good. And I actually looked into it a little bit, and George Lucas like came up with the story in the 70s and then waited for CG to like get good enough for him to make this film, which was in the late 80s.
Wow.
So that's cool. That's like shows how committed he was to the story and wanting it to be good, which I think is pretty cool as a filmmaker. You know, what is it? Delayed gratification and like trying to do the best work that you can, I think is really awesome.
Yeah.
And then,
totally.
actually, I have a question. Two things, actually. Okay, so one is the table monster at the end.
Yeah.
Was that in the script?
I don't remember that being there. No.
I was like, I swear I looked down for 1 second and I looked back up and then the table was turned into a monster and it was like walking around and I was, what happened?
It was a stray bolt from their fighting. Turned
Okay.
it. Yeah. So like they're wrestling for the wand
Right.
and a shot hits the table.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, before I was saying that I was like really excited to see what these death dogs look like because I didn't get it. I didn't understand. And I think they're like giant rats with like a lion's mane, right?
I thought they were like rat pigs.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
With like a yeah. So I was like, is that a warthog or like I don't really understand what it is, but that was like a real animal that I think they just put like a costume on, right?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a dog, at least.
You don't think so? How would they? What else would they have used to like? What would they have trained to be able
I really
to?
think it was a pig.
You think it was a pig?
Yeah.
Just a bunch of black pigs. Okay.
Like boars, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Death
Small
dogs.
boars. Yeah, no, there were a couple of like things like that was a little weird, the death dogs.
Yeah.
The shield slide through the camp, I don't think came off that well for me.
Yeah.
For one thing, it looks like you're on an almost flat plane, so I don't think you'd be sliding very fast.
Right.
And you're going through like I thought they were at like the edge of the camp, but they go through the entire camp and like everyone just watches them go. And then another thing that I think I dismissed from one of your criticisms of the script was, or your questions at least, was how Bavmorda dies. Bavmorda dies at the end with the lightning.
Yeah.
And in the film, it looked pretty cheap to me, where it's like she has the wand, she raises the wand, and then for some reason lightning hits her.
Yeah.
Like there's no build up to it. She just lifts the wand and then just lightning happens to strike her. And I think they were trying to go for she's using lightning, but it's getting out of her control, and so it hits her. It did not come across to me.
Yeah. I think it's supposed to be that she's like so angry in that moment that or like unfocused that her magic like gets used against her. Something. It definitely in both the script and the movie I was like, what? And I remember saying like it's like, oh, like the bad guy got rid of themselves. Okay. Again, if you had just waited, she might have made the mistake as well.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing to worry about. She'll kill herself in the end. Evil turns in upon itself. Yeah.
There was also, okay, I feel like we were like, oh, we're done, but there's not. There's more. But just one more thing. I thought there was like a little bit of comedy, like more comedy in the movie, which I enjoyed than there was in the script. Like when they're leaving the village the first time and the sorcerer's like, or the guy in the village, the magic guy in the village, he's like, go in the direction the bird is flying.
Yeah. It's flying back to the village.
It's going back to the village. He's like, ignore the bird, follow the river.
Yeah. There were fun moments like that. I think it's a fun 80s romp of a fantasy film.
Romp of a fantasy film. I think that's the
Yeah.
best way to put it for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So I guess we've decided it's a fun romp of an 80s film, but the script is better.
Yeah, that's right. The script is better for sure.
Okay, so this movie actually has a connection, tiny connection to the movie that we're doing next week, or the script that we're going to read next time, in that Kevin Pollak is in this movie, and he's also in the movie of the script we're going to read, and we're doing Martin Scorsese's Casino.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. I think that was quite the stretch, but you got there. That's awesome.
What? No, he's in both movies. That's not a stretch.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I didn't know. I didn't even know Kevin Pollak was in Casino. So this is how little I know about this one. It's that, and I know it's a long script. So
Yeah.
we got to really dig into this one.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Beck.
Bye.
Bye.